Also getting another update from the Pentagon Force Protection Agency, sending out a tweet saying the Pentagon has lifted that lockdown that is critical and has reopened. Corridor 2, they're saying, and the metro entrance is still closed.
That is a major development and certainly suggests that we are turning an important page in this investigation right now. Let's go back out to Matthew Torres, who is joining us live this afternoon. Matthew, you are on the perimeter there of the Pentagon. What are you seeing there?
Well, I know that the lockdown has been lifted and at least the Corridor 2 remains closed and Corridor 3 opens for the pedestrian traffic, as Lorenzo just mentioned. Here at the connector road, we do still have Pentagon police still blocking the road here. Really, for the past 30 minutes, we have watched them kind of let in different agencies walking in, of course, redirecting people to turn around because they can't access it. Now, just on this particular corner, we have really just a bunch of other reporters here also trying to get a different look and a different vantage point of the Pentagon. And what's interesting is about 10 minutes ago, we were kind of inching our way towards the gate when one of the officers stopped us, telling us to go back to where we are standing. In his words, he says, "We are looking for someone," and us being in that grass isn't helping. And so it just gives you the gravity of the situation. At least this is very much still a fluid investigation. But just down here, it's pretty much an empty road. Again, they're calling it the connector road, where we do have another police officer, or excuse me, a Pentagon police officer blocking this particular intersection. And so just from where we saw Kurt, we're actually just on the other side of this. Leads to a bridge just outside of the Pentagon. But so far, things in this particular area is still very much heavily guarded by police.
Matthew, I can imagine that as employees start to make their way outside of the Pentagon this afternoon, they're going to have a lot of questions about what took place here, and they want those answers as well. We do want to let you know that there is a media staging area that has been organized, and we are told that that is close to the Virginia Highlands Park, where our Nathan Baca is right now. So we expect to get more information in a briefing from police, and they should walk us through really the timeline of events right now. And now that the lockdown has been lifted, there's a lot of information that they have about what took place here and who's injured, who may have been involved, and what they can kind of ascertain about a potential motive in this situation.
Yeah, and with them lifting this lockdown, Larry, that is key. That shows that there is no remaining threat. And we've been at this for more than an hour now, and that's what they're trying to figure out. While they may have the situation neutralized in that particular scene, they want to make sure that the suspect or the shooter in this case isn't tied to something larger. So I'm sure that the investigation isn't just taking place at the Pentagon, but wherever that shooter may have had ties.
And so with that, we do expect that Metro service will at some point resume for the orange, yellow, and blue lines that pass through the Pentagon Metro station. And so now that we have this shift, we expect things to get back to normal, and we also expect to get more information from police. But there are a lot of unanswered questions, primarily a motive in the situation. What would compel someone to engage in a shooting on a platform at the bus terminal outside of the Pentagon, which when you think about likely places for criminal activity to happen, the Pentagon doesn't rank high on my list.
Not on the list. That's what I was saying earlier. The fact that this all took place outside of the Pentagon, there has to be something deeper here. This isn't just some random shooting that you might see taking place in other parts of our region. This seems that, it was intentional to a certain degree.
And just kind of talking about the layered security at the Pentagon has lots of security that are present 24 hours a day in the parking lots of the Pentagon. There's layered security inside of the facility as well. When we think about significant events that have taken place, 9/11, the insurrection at the Capitol, federal authorities are taking no chances, especially when you think about the high-ranking officials that are working right now inside of that facility. So a lot for them to digest, a lot for them to look into, and important questions they have to answer about what happened here and what can they do to make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, they're focused primarily at this point as well as, again, going to be focused on that suspect. But with this lockdown lifted at this point, it seems like they have a lot of information that they're not telling us as of yet. So as you mentioned a little earlier, Larry, they are going to have a news conference so we can all figure out where things stand right now. But for the folks watching us right now at home, with this lockdown lifted at the Pentagon, it's safe to assume that things are okay.
The threat has subsided, at least for right now. Our coverage is going to continue after this commercial break. Stay with us.
This has been a special report from WUSA 9. For continuing coverage, go to WUSA9.com or download our mobile app.